Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video, it's episode 5 entitled Moving So Easily Through That Common Depth. I give a full episode recap with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around. I have all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. Nova has some good news that the judge upheld the state for the work order to excavate the land, so they can't start digging again, and the forensic testing to determine the nature of the bones is ongoing with no expected time to know the results. Charley also reports that her lawyer says that even if the bones are determined to belong to the family making the accusations, and if they decide to bring it to civil suit, it's almost impossible to win. Ralph Angel seems worried in that it's a lot of ifs in these scenarios, but in the meantime, their father's name is being dragged through the mud, being accused of murder. Back at the diner, Vi packs a nice care package for Darla full of goodies and treats to help her relax. Hollywood jokes with her about how he notices that she's been eating a lot and had cravings, but Vi gives that thanks to her being stressed about everything that's going on with the borderline land. Hollywood laughs about all of the wonderful thoughts of Gabriel and how he loves basketball, and Vi is thankful for Hollywood being so understanding with the Celine situation. There's even more tension between Billie and Prosper. She brings over morning muffins thinking it's going to brighten his day and says that they're organic and have less sugar. Instead of being thankful, he tells her that they probably won't taste the same and how she should have got the muffins from Fiona's, a black-owned bakery. He even reminisces and calls her a shoplifter and when she shoplifted from Fiona's. Billie says that shoplifter is such a harsh word. She was 6 years old and didn't even know what she was doing. To make the energy in the room even worse, he then says that next time when she makes the coffee, to try not to make it so hot. The last time he almost burnt his mouth. She tells him, well, you don't have to worry about that anymore because I got you a new coffee maker. He's more resistant and saying that he doesn't need new things. It's expensive and he has a limited budget, but she assures that it came from her funding and he didn't have to worry about anything. He shakes his head and scoffs that away, but she says, you know what? I'll return the coffee maker and I'll go get you something from Fiona's. I just wanted to help out the situation and make you feel better. She's so frustrated that she leaves, leaving Prosper to talk to himself. Darla tries to get some rest, but she expresses to Ralph Angel that she's worried about a lot of things. The delivery of the baby, their financial situation, but Ralph stays persistent that everything will be okay, and Darla is tired of him saying the same things over and over again. She wants him to look at the reality, but he says that everything will be okay. He has a plan B, that he will make some deliveries with Theo. He's confident in it, but she's not confident with his friend from prison. Charley and Micah take a moment to catch up, and she's yawning constantly. She says that she hasn't been getting any rest because she has a lot on her mind. She's worried about so many things. The Black American Farmers Alliance lawsuit, the remains found on the land, how Davis is adjusting to his new job, everything. Micah reminds her that she loves to be in control, but she can't be in control all the time. He's come to the realization that he needs to face his anxiety. Everything that's happened with Prosper and his own personal experience with police brutality, he can't control those things that can happen, but realizes he has the control of how he handles it afterwards. Charley is really proud of Micah and all of his realizations, and not just having those realizations, but what to do about them. Nova talks to someone from forensics, demanding that she knows her rights. The bone was found on her land, and she wants to know more information. The employee says that he can't give additional information, and the contents that were found are part of a criminal investigation. All Nova wants is to be notified of the results before it goes public, but the forensic employee says that the discussion is over. Darla stops by the diner to speak with Vi, and Vi laughs about how she was just about to send her a treat care package. But Darla says that she hasn't been feeling hungry lately. It's not due to morning sickness, it's because she's worried about Ralph Angel. She explains that financially she has some money, but it's just enough to pay certain bills and keep everything afloat. She wants to feel like she's contributing more financially and that it's not all dependent on Ralph Angel. She also tells Vi that her mother has some money for her set aside for her college education, but since she didn't use it, she requested that the money be sent to her. She told Ralph Angel about the idea, and Ralph said that he declined it and wanted the opportunity to get the finances himself. Darla told him that she wouldn't do it and would be patient and wait on him, but the truth is that she went forward and requested the money. Vi tells her, well, good for you. Women should have their own money in stash set to the side just in case. As a matter of fact, she has 2 accounts that Hollywood doesn't know about. Prosper comes by with Ralph Angel to see the real spot to congratulate Hollywood on the grand opening success. As they sit down for a little drink, Prosper wants to know from Hollywood if Vi is upset with him. Hollywood says that no, she hasn't mentioned anything and everything seems to be fine. Why do you ask? Prosper explained that while Vi came over, her and Billie had a little disagreement and he took Billie's side. Hollywood confirms that, hey man, if Vi's upset about something, I'm sure that she'll mention it or she'll say something. And if she's upset, she'll still be okay. So don't worry about it. She's upset with a lot of people, but with you, I doubt it. Prosper also learns that Ralph and Vi still aren't talking because of Blue's situation and him leaving for school. Ralph Angel says, God gave you a second chance to be here because maybe this is an opportunity to make things right. Prosper says, well, yeah, Billie and I, we're fine one moment and then we're not. I just don't know what to do anymore. Hollywood and Ralph both suggest that this is the opportunity to make things right with your daughter. Dominic drops by some rolling papers to Nova and wants to know how she's dealing with everything. She says that she's dealing with so much family drama that she's hardly had enough time to focus on true papers. He wants to get first dibs on the next article, but tells him that he'll have to find out when everybody else does. Ralph chats it up with Theo to get more information concerning the pickup and drop-offs. Theo says that, hey, there's no risk and Ralph is someone that he can trust. He's had a lot of guys help him in the past, but they've known each other since they were little. They need to work as a team and they can get a lot done if they work together. He also doesn't want anything to happen to Ralph's farm, and he needs the money now. To add even more convincing to the top, he hands Ralph a few stacks of cash and says that Ralph looked out for him while they were locked up and sees this as an opportunity to pay Ralph back. Before he goes back into the club, he tells Ralph Angel, give it some more thought. Nova congratulates Charley for being famous on Black Twitter. Black Twitter is dragging her photo with her and Davis. Charley can't believe that after everything she talked about in the interview with Gayle King, that her situation with Davis gained more attention. Hollywood, Vi, Celine, and Gabriel enjoy some good cooking. Hollywood jokes about how the food must be good because it's quiet like a library. Gabriel is even more fascinated with Hollywood and is engaged at every little moment and every little thing that he says. Hollywood tells Gabriel that he has a surprise for him in the living room. While the guys step away, Celine shares that she has good news, that the lawyer that Vi suggested has started the paperwork for her divorce. Vi congratulates her and tells her that that's not good news, that's amazing news. Gabriel returns to the room in complete excitement after he's been gifted a basketball. Hollywood tells him to go practice his dribbling on the porch and he'll be with him in just a moment. Celine thanks Hollywood for being so gentle and kind with her son and welcoming to everything concerning her situation, and gives praise to Vi for inviting her and her son into getting help in the things that they need. Micah's friend stops by to see how he's been doing and if he has any updates and improvements concerning meditation. Micah says that he has some great improvements with meditation and knows that consistency is key. While talking, he notices a lot of the photos on Micah's computer. His friend compliments him on his photography and says that I knew you took photos, but I didn't know you were that good. In the meantime, since you take photos, you should take some photos of me. I need to update a lot of my profile pictures. They both agreed that they'll get a bite to eat and head to campus to get better lighting. Charley and Nova reminisce about their dad as Charley tries to attempt at baking. She says that baking gives her a sense of control and helps her to relax, and is something that maybe she can get better at over time. They wonder, could their father really be responsible for murder? What would he do in these times? Would he be able to handle it? And what would he say about certain things? Ralph is very nervous about what's going to happen next. He prays that it's been a while since he's talked to God, went to church, or even opened the Bible, and apologizes. He knows what he's about to do is wrong and prays that he's doing this wrong all for the right reasons and asks for protection. He promises that from now on he's going to do right, be the man his family wants him to be, and he wants to make everybody proud before ending the prayer and saying amen. He wipes away his tears before another vehicle approaches. It's Theo. There's been a slight change of plans. One of his guys backed out at the last minute and he needs Ralph to help him load the truck. He tells Ralph that if he doesn't want to do it, then fine. He just needs to give back the money that he gave him. And that's only the more convincing that Ralph needs to get out and help him. All Ralph can do is just to move forward. They start to load the truck and everything is ready to roll. With a sigh of relief, they hug each other, and Theo is happy to have everything locked up and loaded. He tells Ralph that he's excited about the next run, but Ralph says that there will be no next run, that this is the last time. Theo pays him on the spot and leaves. Vi returns home after dropping off Celine and Gabriel and says all that he talks about is Hollywood this and Hollywood that. They both collapse on the bed from such an eventful day. Vi tells Hollywood that, there'll always be kids around. We have the baby on the way, Blue, and maybe even Nova will have kids, but they'll never belong to them. Vi wants to know if he's okay with that, with never having a child and passing on his legacy. Hollywood thinks that legacy is more than just children. As Ralph makes his delivery, he hears police sirens and pulls over. Gladly, the cop isn't pulling him over and drives by in a pursuit of something else, giving Ralph a sigh of relief. Charley stops by Vi to show her some of her baking skills and wants her to judge her pastries, but Vi wants to know why she's really there. Charley is bothered by people and what they're saying on social media, and Vi is just not understanding why she's upset. Why does she have so much concern for people that don't even know her? She needs to take that ownership and just know that her relationship is hers and should be sacred. She's responsible for posting the picture. Nobody forced her to do that. And she went on an interview with Gayle King to talk about everything. So why is Charley so concerned when people have an opinion? She wants to know, did I ask you or anybody else in the family what you guys thought about Hollywood? And Charley says, well, no, you didn't. And Vi says, yeah, that's my point. If you know what you know in your heart, other people's opinions don't matter. And besides, when it comes to baking, to leave everything to Vi. She can handle that. Billie thinks that Nova's article is absolutely amazing and she's very talented, although she warns that the boys in blue won't like it, so be careful. Billie takes a moment to apologize for outing her to her dad and says that there was no excuse for her actions. She was thankful for Nova's relationship when they were younger, and even admits that when she got older, she compared other friendships to theirs. She's glad that Nova is back in her life and wants to build on their friendship once again. Nova accepts her apology and says that she's been wanting to hear that apology for a very long time. The family celebrates with champagne. Nova's research has found out that the bone that was found is over 150 years old, letting them know that the name is not tarnished and everything dealing with the land can rest. They can move on. It's a win for the family. But Ralph can't help but to wonder and says to everyone, I wonder whose bone that really is that they found anyway. It's curiosity that the family wants to know as well. Micah's friend stops by to just vent about how he didn't do well on his last test. He couldn't even focus because he had so much on his mind, but the test is over and all I can do is just forget about it. Micah extends his friendship even more by saying that if you have a lot on your mind, always feel free to come by and we can talk. It's no biggie. They stand up and they hug each other, and others in the hall can't help but to observe their hug as well. Darla and Ralph enjoy some sense of normalcy while being out of the house and getting a bite to eat. Ralph has more planned and calls their getaway a baby moon since their original honeymoon got cut short. He shows her a reservation of a nice room and says that he's worked a double shift with Theo and will work another shift next weekend. Darla doesn't like the idea, and again Ralph says that she doesn't need to worry and they deserve to have some fun. Dominic stops by again to drop off some rolling papers, and Nova needs another favor. She wants to know if he can have any resources that can further investigate the bone that was found on the land. He says that the research can be done by him at the university or by somebody else that he knows. It just may take a while. Dominic invites her for a nice evening jog, and Nova says yes. There's obvious tension in the room as Prosper tries his best to spark up some sort of conversation. He compliments her cleaning and says that there's nothing else to clean. She apologizes for the overwhelming pine smell and says that it was a way for her to relax. He thanks her for always being a good daughter and coming by to help him during these hard times. She says that he doesn't need to thank her and that she's there because she's his daughter and wants to be there. He apologizes for calling her a shoplifter when she was a kid, and even today, that she was just some 6-year-old kid that was curious. And she's always been in a bubble all to herself, curious and wanting more and better things. He apologizes for always lashing out at her, and that anger could just come from his own ideas and perspectives of what he wanted her to be in life. He says that he's sorry and he just wants things to get better between the both of them. They tell each other that they love each other very, very much. And finally, there's a shared, much needed hug. And that is the end of the episode. Now it is time for your favorite part of the video. That's right, my review. There is a lot to discuss when it comes to these characters. And if you've been following me with the reviews of this season, that I've talked about the dynamic of all of the relationships and how a lot of in-depth conversations that haven't been happening and people are trying to not really talk about is slowly making its way, still slowly starting to make its entrance into the light. We see that with every couple. We see that with every cluster of characters. We see that between Vi and Hollywood. We see that between Ralph and Darla, Nova and everyone that she knows. Everything is coming. The pot is boiling over. Let's first start with Ralph and Darla. So Ralph, even with his close encounter with possibly being caught with a cop, and saying that prayer of protect me, and I just want to do this one time. And, you can see the foreshadowing of this mocking of God, right? Protect me, let me do this wrong, and I got away with it. Not only did he get away with it, but we see that with him telling Darla that, hey, I have another delivery, quote unquote, with Theo next weekend. You would think with all of those brush-ins and him crying and him being nervous and saying he doesn't want to do it, that he was for real, that he was going to make that run his last run. But of course, with money and sweeping it under the rug about their financial problems, the concerns that your wife has, you want to go ahead and leap into that dangerous zone of doing that. It's not only irresponsible, right? It's this cockiness of, I got away with it once, I'll get away with it again. And there's an expression saying, God doesn't exist in desperation, right? That you're asking for things or you're praying for things if you can get away with it, or if you're not sincere in your prayer, knowing that if you could get away with it, you'll do it again. And that's what we're seeing with this character, that, I can do this, do my dirt, and it's for a good cause, so I should be fine. But of course, that's something that's bubbling over, and it's going to crescendo with that couple. They aren't sitting down and really looking at the realities of everything. Now, Darla is trying her best. Darla is trying her best to bring the subject up, to talk about it. This is expensive. This is this. This is this. And trusting that he's saying, no, everything's going to be taken care of. Instead of putting her foot down and saying, this is not being taken care of. This is the reality. This is what it is. She wasn't honest with Ralph and telling him that, yeah, I said, yes to the money and the money's coming. If she would have done that, do you think that Ralph would have moved forward with not doing the deliveries? It's something about pride that I think that even if she did tell him that she said yes to the money anyway, that he would want to do it. I think that there would still be an issue. And going into the next group, the couple, we're talking about Vi and Hollywood. Now, Vi has a discussion with Darla about the situation and saying that, hey, it's okay. You can have a stash to the side. A woman needs to have her stash to the side that it doesn't know about. And I even have 2 accounts that Hollywood doesn't know about. I'm kind of 50-50 with this conversation. And this could be a totally different video by itself. But is it dishonesty or is it just being precautious as an individual to protect yourself? Because this is not talking about this is a boyfriend, right? This is a husband. You're talking about your husband and you're talking about something that he doesn't know. Now we start to think about, okay, is that categorized as a secret? Is it categorized as being manipulative and thinking that there's only this source of money, but there's also some extra money to the side, right? Because then we can bring to the forefront that is this money that you could have helped Hollywood with when he was losing a lot of that money in the real estate for the real spot during the pandemic? A lot of that's going to bubble over when Vi and Hollywood have their moment. Their argument is coming. I have been saying that for I don't know how long, that the argument is coming. And when it happens, I think it's going to be absolutely terrible. So terrible to the fact that it may lead to possible divorce. Deception, not communicating. Now we have this dynamic of him being engaged with this young boy, right? And Vi seeing the happiness and how different he is with having a child, and her having that reality of, wow, I can't give my husband what he wants when we talk about having children. So she asked the question, does this bother you that, we have all these other kids around us, but none of them belong to us? How does that make you feel? Have you thought about legacy and all this other stuff? When we have Hollywood that says, oh, its legacy is more than that. So we got all these bob and weave situations where it's like we talk about it, but not really. We've discussed it, but not really. These are very, very serious situations. We've had for several seasons how Hollywood has sacrificed so much for Vi. Okay, he's sacrificed so much time, energy, and money into Vi. Not saying that Vi hasn't, right, done the same thing for Hollywood, but Hollywood put his dream on hold for the real spot to her to get her business together, right? Hollywood put a lot on hold when it came to things that he wanted to talk about because she was dealing with a lot of stuff. So there's a crescendo and there's an argument that's happening with Charley and Davis. It's like, really, Charley, did you really think that you were going to be able to post a photo like that and expect everybody to just say, great, this is awesome? We're just going to completely forget about what happened in your relationship not too long ago. We're just going to completely forget about that. It's this denial with all the characters that this didn't really happen. And if it happened, it's just going to brush over. It's that constant reality punch in the face that, what are you doing? Like, did you not think, like Vi said, did you not think that people were going to have an opinion? You on a public platform, and did you not think that people were going to have an opinion? Or are you shocked that people have negative opinions about it? It's a reality check. And a lot of the things that they swept under the rug, and when I say they, I mean a lot of these characters, is going to come up. Micah and his friend. Micah dealing with his anxiety and finally dealing with a lot of his anxieties until it physically crippled him. He can't run from that anymore and telling his mom, because now it's getting serious to the point where it's affecting your physical health. The friend that's coming by, that's constantly coming over A lot of us using our common sense and certain things he would say and do suggested that maybe that he was homosexual, because it seemed to be this overtly compassion and help, right? You can't assume, somebody's sexuality just upon the way that they speak or their actions or things like that. But we as an audience, we kind of just saw how this kind of just slowly kind of etching to that. Because he asks questions a lot, and it's coming from a really compassionate side. So now we see the homophobia of other men, right, in the hallway at the dormitory, seeing them hug, and maybe already knowing about Micah's friend. Because, right, if there was this perception that Micah's friend was heterosexual, they wouldn't have looked at them like that. Even like, oh, they're just talking, right? So there's probably already this dynamic within the dorm or on campus or on campus that Micah's friend is gay. And seeing them hug, there's this homophobia of, ooh, are they gay? Is Micah gay? You know what I mean? So of course, it's foreshadowing of maybe Micah finding out, and how will he feel if he felt that everybody else thought that he was gay as well, or they were gay. You know what I mean? It's gonna come up because you have certain phobias and things that people will say, but then as a person, you have to say to yourself, am I comfortable in my own sexuality? Am I comfortable in my own situation? Not to care about what other people think. So I think that that's something that we will see for the rest of the season, because we're midpoint. I'm not sure if they're going to have 12 episodes or 13. I think one of the articles that I wrote concerning the writing and the time that they had studio time to actually record, I think it's going to be 12 to 13. But we'll see. They can change things when it comes to making a decision, saying there's going to be 12 of them, but in actuality they only reported 10. So we'll see. Sometimes production doesn't want to give it away. They want to keep the audience guessing about how much is left, because they've done that with every season. They've thought about releasing the exact number. And research shows is that when you don't give the exact number of how many episodes, your audience will become a little bit more engaged, because there's a curiosity behind it. Now to Nova. Once again, the reality slap in the face. You're going to put out this article. You've already put out another article. You've already been doing other things where you're getting nonverbal threats, right, in the mailbox. So did you really think that with putting out this article that there's not going to be backlash from the police or from anybody else or any organization that sees people of color as a negative? She's in her bubble as well. She's got security cameras. She's got all of this stuff, but there's only so much that can do. And of course, you have to be realistic and, saying that, hey, how much protection can that police department give? Because they've experienced them with Prosper, with them not feeling safe. It's just kind of like this between a rock and a hard place situation. But I still don't feel good about the character of Dominic. He just always comes by at the most convenient times when stuff is happening. And he just always happens to have 10,000 questions for Nova. Something's telling me that he's investigating her, or he's funneling information about her to somebody else. It just seems a little bit too of a coincidence that it's this person that just so happened to move next to her, right? That has this sister, that they're not in a relationship, and he just happens to have all of these questions, and he's involved in a lot of the things that she finds interesting, opening the door for her feeling more comfortable in speaking with him. That is a huge coincidence. If I'm reading too much into it, then I'm reading too much into it. Then again, I read a lot of mystery novels, look at a lot of mystery shows on television. So maybe I am looking too deep into it, but need to chill. I just think it's just mighty weird how he just showed up, right? And is asking all these questions, constantly around, always walking by when she's coming home, asking about her time schedule when she's coming, what she's reading, what she's doing. I don't know about that. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss any posts, and spread the word about this family-friendly channel, okay? Make sure to check out previous comedic posts as well that I posted about so much more. The R. Kelly trial, Jeannie Mai, just a whole bunch of goofy stuff that I posted. And also make sure to check out Wu-Tang and American Saga, that playlist as well. That's going to be in the pinned comment below. And we have so much for this month. We have another season of Ready to Love that's coming soon. We have Queens that's starring Brandy Norwood and so many other people. We have the final season of Insecure will be this month as well. And if you have not seen the previous season of Insecure, check that out in the playlist as well. I got you back. You know I got you covered. Make sure that you come back, okay? And tomorrow is Wu-Tang and American Saga. Check out that series. And if you haven't seen season 1, you can binge watch that as well in the playlist and look at that so you can catch up with us and join us for season 2. In the meantime, in between time, take care of yourself and each other. Until next time, bye.